Good evening. You're watching The Nation at 5 with me, Ridhima Bhatnagar. Thanks a lot for staying with us here at CNN News 18. Straight to our top focus. On the 75th anniversary of Jammu and Kashmir's accession to India, the Law Minister Kiren Rijiju has now written for News18.com and he's mentioned 5 Nehruvian blunders. The Law Minister claims that Jammu and Kashmir has had to face the consequences of a series of blunders from the first Prime Minister for the next 7 decades. He claims that while the Maharaja Hari Singh wanted a clear accession to the Union of India, it was Nehru who put obstacles and conditions in place which sowed the seeds of separatism as well as terror. So let's now talk to you about the 5 blunders that have been mentioned by the Law Minister in that op-ed that he's written exclusively for News18.com, and you can read that entire op-ed on our website. But let's break down all these details. The first one, according to the Law Minister, is the first Nehruvian blunder is popular approval bogey invented by Nehru for Kashmir's accession. Basically, he's saying that it was the own vested agenda of Jawaharlal Nehru that resulted in what played out the next 7 decades for the valley. Next, he's also going on to say that Maharaja Hari Singh pleaded with Jawaharlal Nehru, but he negotiated to fulfill agenda, as I pointed out. He's also saying that the blame cannot be put on Maharaja Hari Singh because he had actually approached Nehru 1 month before the independence date in July 1947. The second blunder, as pointed out by the Law Minister, is eventual accession of Kashmir declared as provisional. What was the need to put it as provisional? He's also saying provisional accession led to believe that it was open to debate, thus created, quote-unquote, the issue that we've had with Pakistan over the last 7 decades and the issue of POK as well. Nehru's blunder of open door that seeded 7 decades of separatist mindset because you gave that gap once you said this was provisional. Moving on, the third blunder, as pointed out by the Law Minister, is approaching UN under Article 35 rather than Article 51. This is what the BJP also now hitting out at the Congress, saying this was an internal matter. Why was this taken up to the UN? Maharaja signed instrument of accession with India. Nehru gave locus to Pakistan. Also, examples of other princely states have been given that when the issue was sorted with them because of the efforts of Sardar Patel, then why was Kashmir seen as a separate issue? Nehru accepted Kashmir as a dispute between India and Pakistan, as I pointed out, which made that gap available for Pakistan for them not only to try and intrude into our territory, but kind of events that we've seen over the last 7 decades. The fourth blunder, as pointed out by the Law Minister, let myth perpetrate that UN mandate plebiscite was being stopped by India. As I pointed out, the BJP again is reiterating this narrative, saying an internal matter was taken to the UN. Why? Pak refused to withdraw troops led to talk of plebiscite being in fructus. Again, something that has been seen and pointed to the kind of decisions taken by the first Prime Minister of the country, Jawaharlal Nehru. Sword of plebiscite hangs of India because Nehru himself opened that door. Of course, the Congress has now hit back and said that this is all fabricated claims which is being peddled by the BJP only because they want to spoil the name as far as the Gandhi family is concerned. And the fifth blunder, as pointed out in that op-ed by the Law Minister, is creation and perpetuation of Article 370 in interim draft of the Constitution. Is something that the BJP has been saying that once things started to improve was only post the abrogation of Article 370. No justification for such an article as special case existed only in Nehru's mind. Why were these decisions taken? Why weren't the issues of the people of Kashmir thought about by the first Prime Minister? Some of the questions being raised by the BJP. Nehru had his way. Article 370 came into existence and institutionalizing separatist mindset, something that I pointed to you earlier as well. So this is what the Law Minister has said in that very lengthy and point-by-point narration of what really happened. Let's listen in to what the Law Minister had to say and some other political reactions as well.
ये सारे जो मुद्दे हैं ये तो मैंने कोई इसको खोज के निकाला तो नहीं है, ये तो ऑलरेडी डॉक्यूमेंटेड है और ये देशवासियों का सामने में रखना ज़रूरी था। एक भारतीय होने के नाते भी भारत के इतिहास को हम नहीं भूल सकते हैं। इतिहास हम अपने हाथों से हम बदल नहीं सकते हैं। इतिहास तो जो है उस इतिहास को सिर्फ लोगों के सामने में रखना था। और मैं मानता हूं कि जो 75 साल पहले पंडित जवाहरलाल नेहरू जी ने जो गलतियां की उसको मोदी जी ने ठीक किया है। 5 ब्लंडर ऐसा है जिसका कीमत आज भी चुका रहे।
From the government side, Kiren Rijiju, the Union Minister, is saying that Nehru did blunder in that. So how would you react to that?
You see, I don't understand what he's saying about Nehru's blunder. He may be referring to a rumor that my father wanted to exceed earlier, but there's no proof about that. At least I haven't seen any proof about it, nor have I read any documents to that effect. What I want to draw your attention to is the letter that my father wrote to Lord Mountbatten, enclosing the instrument of accession. This is going around. I think it's a canard, if you ask me, just to sort of, as it were, decry Jawaharlal Nehru, who was, of course, very keen that Jammu Kashmir, she was a Kashmiri himself. There's nothing to prove that my father was ready to exceed earlier. How did he say that? I have no knowledge about that. But as I said, if he was going to exceed earlier, then he would not have written this type of letter to Lord Mountbatten.
Meanwhile, there is also an op-ed that has been written by Kiren Rijiju where he points out the 7 blunders that has been done by Nehru during his time, and that is why the situation is like this.
Instead of peddling fake history, ministers of Modi government should focus on restoring normalcy in Kashmir. I think Mr. Kiren Rijiju, unfortunately, is maybe one of the bright students of WhatsApp nursery, but we'll send him some history books. He should also consult some people who understand the history of Kashmir, and we can send him some names and numbers, and then come and have a debate with us. We challenge him.
भारत के पहले प्रधानमंत्री स्वर्गीय जवाहरलाल नेहरू जी ने 5 ऐसी बड़ी गलतियां करी, भूल करी, जिसकी एक बड़ी कीमत हमारे देश को, देशवासियों को और जो कश्मीर के नागरिक हैं उनको चुकानी पड़ी।
Let me also now bring in my colleague Arun Dhanta, who's joining us live on the broadcast. A long op-ed that has been written by the Law Minister Arun for News18.com, and one of the points that is being made is that the Maharaja at that time had actually approached Jawaharlal Nehru 1 month before the independence, somewhere in July 1947, for an earlier session. But you spoke to the son of the Maharaja. What is he saying? Why is he calling this a rumor?
Well, see, when I asked him very specific question on this Kiren Rijiju's article, he said he must have written this by hearing the rumors around. But the fact here is that the letter which Raja Hari Singh, his father, has written to Lord Mountbatten, it talks about the confusion in which Raja Hari Singh was at that point in time. So Dr. Karan Singh said that he had written that letter in which he was saying that I was wonder whether to go with India or go with Pakistan or to stay independent. And he's saying that Kiren Rijiju is an intelligent man, but these things which he's saying is something which is not in my knowledge, which is not the fact. And in fact, if you go through, which you've just read, the article which has written by Kiren Rijiju, it talks about various aspects. And in fact, when the responses started coming from the Congress's side, we had seen a response again coming from the Kiren Rijiju side, where he was saying that whatever I said or written is something which is factual, which is documented. So I haven't said anything which is not fact. And whatever the mistakes which Jawaharlal Nehru has done, it is Prime Minister Modi who's rectifying it. Now, the point which he has raised in that article, he's saying that when Jawaharlal Nehru at the first place took this matter to United Nations, he should have gone ahead under the Article 51, which talks about the illegal occupation or illegally occupying India's territory. Instead, he had gone ahead with Article 35, which talks about the land issues with another country, in which he has already accepted the fact that there is a land dispute between both the countries. So this is the mistake which he has pointed out, and he also talked about Article 370 at that point in time. 306A was something which was to institutionalize the ideas of separatist by Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, and also the friendship which he had with Sheikh Abdullah, and that was the reason why he did not take that decision at that point in time when Kashmir was suffering. And the time which wasted to take that decision by Jawaharlal Nehru gave space for Pakistan to occupy Gilgit-Baltistan and Muzaffarabad area. So that's the point which Kiren Rijiju is raising, actually.
Arun, thanks a lot for getting us all those details. Let me also now bring in our guest to take this discussion forward. We have a Kashmiri Pandit activist, Ashwini Bhatt. We also have political analyst, Sumant C. Raman. Good to have both of you on the broadcast with us. Sumant, I'd like to begin the conversation with you. How do you see this op-ed which has been written by the Law Minister? Essentially, the Law Minister and the BJP are saying this, that they were major blunders that were made by Jawaharlal Nehru because of his own vested interest, which meant that we saw the events that play out in the last 7 decades. And now the Prime Minister and the BJP are having to work from point zero to try and undo those mistakes.
I think factually there are many things which are not explained in that. Now, first of all, what was Nehru's motive as?
Okay. I think we seem to have lost that line with Sumant. We'll try and re-establish that connection. But Ashwini Bhatt, how do you see the kind of criticism that's coming in from the Congress party today? They're saying all these claims that are being made by the likes of Kiren Rijiju and the BJP are fabricated claims. They're very far from reality.
Yeah. Hi. Thanks for having me today. If we go sequentially to what Kiren Rijiju said, I guess he has been very clear and has even been even given references to the blunders, or the 5 blunders that Nehru made. Now, in terms of accession, around 1947, there were more than 500 princely states which were acceded, which got acceded to India. There was problem with only 2, which was Hyderabad and Junagadh, but they were solved too. Why only did Nehru choose to settle the accession of just one princely state, which was Jammu and Kashmir, to India? And we are seeing the result. The only one that he chose is in a mess since then. Now, if I go sequentially, in his speech, Nehru, in his speech in Lok Sabha on July 24th, 1952, he himself has alluded to the interest that Maharaja Hari Singh had shown way back in July 1947 in terms of acceding to India. Now, how do we, I mean, it is available as a part of the records.
Sure.
So, it's from the reference of Nehru that this fact gets sort of validated. Number one. Number two, taking the matter to UN was a blunder. Why would you take an internal matter to United Nations and make it international? Now, even if we see the resolution of the United Nations, there are 3. It's just not referendum. It is sequential. One, there was a ceasefire that had to be established, which did.
Second, Ashwini, I'll just talk to you about the issue as far as the UN is concerned, and I'll also talk to you about the opportunity or the gap that was possibly given to Pakistan as far as this intrusion is concerned in just a bit. I actually want to just take opening comments from Sumant also, who I believe is now back with us. Sumant, I was asking you, do you agree that blunders were made for which we had to suffer for the last 7 decades, and now the BJP is undoing those wrongs?
Okay, am I audible now?
Yeah, we can hear you, Sumant.
Can you hear me? Yeah. Okay. Well, let's look at this in perspective. Now, there is a situation where there were hundreds of princely states, but it was only in a very few princely states that the ruler and the people belong to different communities.
Correct.
Nehru's only fault was perhaps what Mr. Rijiju himself mentions in the article. He wanted popular approval for the accession. Now, to say that this is a huge mistake and popular approval of the people of a place is not necessary, I do not know what kind of logic that comes from. The second point that I want to make, and this is very important, is that at one point of time, Sardar Patel sends a message to Mountbatten to communicate to Liaquat Ali, saying that we are ready to, trade Kashmir for Hyderabad. And then Liaquat Ali sends a reply, apparently, saying that, look, Hyderabad is a large province. Why would we trade it for a place full of rocks, mountain rocks? So, look, let's be very clear. Hindsight, it is easy to be to always have 20/20 vision. These were decisions taken in the best interest of India by people who valued democracy, who valued the opinion of the people of that state. And if Jawaharlal Nehru was accused of something, it can only be accused of wanting democratic consent of the people of the
state. No, but
Sumant,
here is the problem, and this is what the BJP is saying, that till now a narrative had been built where it was almost seen that the Maharaja had a wishy-washy narrative as far as the accession is concerned. But now the law minister is saying that the Maharaja actually pleaded to Nehru and had approached Nehru almost a month before the independence, and Nehru's response at that time was, what's the hurry?
Look, let's again be very clear that the evidence for the Maharaja having, written to Nehru and asked for that. In fact, his son was there a short while ago. And
sure.
Look, the evidence is dodgy. So I think that, first of all, this serves no purpose except to, continue this campaign of Nehru is responsible for all the problems of India, which is strictly not true. Some of these issues, yes, Nehru did make mistakes, especially in 1962. I don't think anybody is defending those. But to say that asking for approval of the people for the accession is a mistake, I do not know how Mr. Rijiju is stating that. And the other part is, clearly India's position on this plebiscite has been reiterated multiple times in to the United Nations and to the international community. Look, it was clearly conditional on Pakistan withdrawing its forces from Pakistan-occupied Kashmir, which has not happened. So the question of a plebiscite does not arise, and India has made that position very clear. I do not know where Mr. Rijiju gets that this weakened India's position significantly and so on.
But Sumant, it's not just being seen as a political action or a delay in political action at that time, but also the larger point that the BJP is trying to make is that at that point, because of this delay and vested interests of Nehru, this actually gave a gap to Pakistan, which resulted in the events that we saw in the last 7 decades.
Please ask Mr. Rijiju what vested interest. What was the vested interest of Jawaharlal Nehru? Please ask. I read the article. I could not make that out. It refers to vested interest of Nehru multiple times. What was the vested interest? I mean, that is not stated. Without stating what vested interest Jawaharlal Nehru could have had, I think it is absurd to try and tar him and tarnish him, his reputation and name. These, and mind you, these were all collective decisions. It is not like the BJP of today where one or two people make all decisions. Those were decisions which were debated. There were men of strong character in the Jawaharlal Nehru cabinet. This is not just that Mr. Nehru would say something and ride roughshod over everybody's opinion. There were people who could talk back to him. But
there are also questions being raised that Kashmir was not the only state that we were dealing with at that time. There were other princely states as well. And Ashwini, this is the question that the BJP is raising, that when the issue with the other princely states like Junagadh and others could be sorted with the kind of intervention of Sardar Patel, why was Kashmir seen as a quote-unquote special case? Who ensured that it was seen as a special case and then led to the kind of events that unfolded?
Sure. No, I heard Sumant. I heard you very patiently, and there are a lot of questions. I'll just answer them one by one. Right. To start with, from to your point in terms of Nehru seeking to have a consent from the from people, as per Indian Independence Act, there is no clause to seek approval of people. Number one, so that busts that argument there. Number two, to your point, I honestly am not going to attribute whether there was a vested interest or not.
Sure.
With Nehru, I'm not going to go that route. But I'll put it this way, right? Why was just Jammu and Kashmir being handpicked by Jawaharlal Nehru, who was, to kind of facilitate and implement the accession, and not the other princely states? To your point, in terms of vested interest, it is an open, if you go back and read history, Jawaharlal Nehru and Sheikh Abdullah were, had a great camaraderie. They were friends. He facilitated, prior to 1947, Sheikh Abdullah had one. There was no democracy. It was a princely state. Who on what measure did he approve of Sheikh Abdullah installing Sheikh Abdullah as Sadr-e Riyasat, right? So there was no, to your point.
Okay.
Was there an opinion? Was there a poll or an opinion done? In the state of Jammu and Kashmir? And mind you, to your point, in terms of it being a Muslim-dominated state, but Jammu and Kashmir it comprises of Jammu, Kashmir, Leh, and Ladakh. They are right from topography, right from language, right from culture. They are vastly different.
Okay.
Right. So that was a huge mistake.
Okay.
Number three.
The larger question that still
delay,
remains is, and I'm unfortunately I will have to leave that conversation there. The question is this an uncomfortable truth for many to digest, or is this actually a claim that is far from reality? That debate is still open. I'd like to thank our guests. Unfortunately, we'll have to leave that conversation there. As far as this controversy is concerned, a reaction now coming in from Rahul Gandhi. Now, amid this controversy, Rahul Gandhi has tweeted, and I'm quoting, "This year there have been 30 targeted killings in Kashmir. The exodus of Pandits is increasing rapidly. The BJP has ruined the good work which was done by the UPA. Kashmiri Pandits remain refugees in their own country." My colleague Pallavi Ghosh, a senior editor, also now joining us on the broadcast. So this is claim versus counter-claim, Pallavi. The BJP is saying they were blunders done by Nehru and we are undoing that wrong. The Congress is saying all the good work that was done in our regime has been completely ruined by the BJP. Where does the truth lie?
Well, I mean, it's very difficult for me to, as a reporter, to actually say where the truth lies. But I think I understand why Rahul Gandhi wants to jump into this discourse, simply because here the attacks are on someone from his family, from his dynasty, that is the Nehru Gandhi dynasty. And the Congress party has always maintained their point that unlike the BJP, the Gandhi family and the Congress party have got links with Kashmir, with the valley. And whatever has taken place in the valley is largely because of the efforts of the UPA, and of course much before that the efforts and the connect between the Nehru Gandhi family with the people of Jammu and Kashmir. And that was also one of the reasons why the Congress opposed the abrogation of Article 370. Well, Rahul Gandhi's latest tweet is a pot shot and a rejoinder not just to the law minister's article which came out, but also the fact that it is under the UPA where we saw semblance of peace. Over here, we are just seeing a pretense of peace, whereas targeted killings have begun. Even the Kashmiri Pandits are not safe, and even those who are non-local civilians are under attack. And therefore, the BJP's claim that they have brought development and peace to the valley is absolutely unsubstantiated.
Pallavi, thanks a lot for getting us all those details. We do have some breaking news coming in now. And this is a CNN News 18 exclusive. Pakistan military's ISI and ISPR Director Generals have addressed journalist Arshad Sharif's killing in a surprise press conference. The DG ISPR claims that the military was not involved in Arshad's murder. They have pointed to Imran Khan's involvement. Now, according to the DG of the ISPR, Prime Minister Imran Khan's narrative of a foreign conspiracy were far from reality. The ISI chief claims that Arshad did not face any threat in Pakistan. They claim Arshad was fed a propaganda via a cipher by Imran Khan, and Ari News played the role of a spin doctor in targeting the army. They want CEO Salman Iqbal to be brought back to Pakistan and then further investigated.
मार्च के महीने में आर्मी चीफ को उनकी मुद्दत मुलाजमत में गैर मुहिना मुद्दत की तोसी की पेशकश भी की गई, मेरे सामने की गई। ये बहुत पुरकशिश पेशकश थी, लेकिन उन्होंने इसको भी ठुकरा दिया, इसलिए कि उन्होंने जो बुनियादी फैसला किया था कि इदारे को मुतनाज़ा रोल से हटा के आईनी रोल पे लाना है। अजीब बात है, आप समझते हैं सुप्पा सलार गद्दार है, लेकिन आप उन्हें कह रहे हैं कि पूरी जिंदगी के लिए अगर आपने इस मुलाजमत में रहना है तो रहें। आपकी कौलो फेल में, फिक्र तदब्बर में इतना खुला, इतना बड़ा तजाद ठीक नहीं।
अगर हमसे माजी में कोई गलतियां हुई हैं तो पिछले 20 सालों से हम अपने खून से उनको धो रहे हैं। यानी वे 35, 40 साल नौकरी के बाद कोई गद्दारी का तोक लटका के घर नहीं जाना चाहता। हम कमजोर हो सकते हैं, हमसे गलतियां हो सकती हैं, मगर हम गद्दार और साजिशी हरगिज नहीं हो सकते।
Let me bring in my colleague Abhishek, who's been tracking all these developments for us. Abhishek, some crucial points there. We heard from the DG of the ISPR saying that there could be weaknesses in how we work, but we are not gaddars. We are not going to be disloyal as far as our country is concerned. Two things that I want to understand from you. Give us a backdrop of what we know so far as this murder is concerned, and more importantly, how should we see this surprise press conference?
So this is one of the very high-profile killing that has happened, and this is apparently an accidental killing which has happened in Kenyan, in the hands of Kenyan police when they were trying to track one vehicle which was supposedly had a kidnapped boy or kidnapped kid, and while tracking that vehicle, accidentally vehicle in which Arshad Sharif was traveling, that came into that particular point where the forces were deployed, and they fired indiscriminately on the car or on the vehicle, and in which Arshad Sharif got killed. He was also accompanied by his brother. So the police version of Kenyan police, the official version of Kenyan police has been that it was an incident of mistaken identity where Arshad Sharif was killed. Now there are multiple layers of this issue. This is such a high-profile case that Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif, who is traveling to Saudi, he had to issue a statement from Saudi about this whole incident and how the government is going to investigate this whole episode at a very high level. He in fact had a conversation with his Kenyan counterpart also, where he was assured by the Kenyan side about all the probe and investigation unbiased way in the killing of Arshad Sharif. Arshad Sharif has been a very prominent journalist. He had a huge mass following of followers on social media handles. Almost 2 million people follow him on Twitter. So you can gauge the kind of popularity he has had in Pakistan. For the last 8 years, he was associated with ARY News. And also associated with he backed Imran Khan as Prime Minister, and he was kind of tilted towards Imran Khan's policy and Pakistan's politics wherever Imran Khan had any side. So in that context, he's seen as a close confidant of Imran Khan. In fact, in his speech, Imran Khan, when he was trying to tell the story of Arshad Sharif, he said that he himself had told Arshad Sharif that his life is in danger and he should stay away from all those investigative reporting that he is doing. But still, Arshad Sharif continued with his work and the truth that he was pursuing. But this is not clear why Arshad Sharif had left Pakistan, what forced him to leave Pakistan, and why
so
he
a lot
did
of questions
go to Kenya.
still remain unanswered as far as the movement of this journalist is concerned. Abhishek, thanks a lot for getting us all those details. We'll continue to track all those developments. For now, we're slipping into a very short break.